sau21.org. D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes tonight will be taken by a roll call vote. So we'll start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So now Rhonda Evans will take a roll call for attendance.
Sharon Gordon.
Here.
Rebecca Burdick.
Here, and I have Sarah in the room with me.
Okay, thank you. And Jim Kime.
I'm here, and there's nobody with me.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We will now ask for a nomination for the Southampton School Board Chair.
I make a nomination to elect Jim.
So Ms. Burdick nominates Jim Kime,
I second that.
seconded by Sharon Gordon.
So I'll do a roll call.
Oh, yes, I'm assuming since the other two nomination that there aren't going to be other nominations. So I'll close nominations at this point and ask for a roll call vote on the nomination of Jim Kime as chair.
Sharon Gordon.
Yes.
Rebecca Burdick.
Yes.
And Jim Kime.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Kime.
Oh, thanks.
And the meeting's yours.
All right, great. So next on the agenda is the election of the board vice chair. We didn't talk about this ahead of time. Does anyone have a preference? Sharon or Becky?
Sharon, would you like to try?
Sure. I think I was vice chair before.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, you
Sharon
were.
might have been.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I will re-elect Sharon as vice chair.
I'll second that.
We'll do a roll call with Sharon Gordon,
Yes.
Becky Burdick,
Yes.
and Jim Kime.
Yes.
The vote's
Congrats,
recorded.
Sharon. All right, next we have to reorganize the committee appointments. So I think given that I'm joint board chair, I will need to be on the operations committee anyways, so that's probably something I should be on, right?
You are on the operations committee as the joint chair. Some larger school boards also have another person. Seabrook had another person. Given the size of your committee, it would be reasonable for you to represent the committee and act as joint board chair, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, you're obviously welcome to get on it if you want as well, but
I agree.
That's great. Yeah.
maybe we'll divvy up the main responsibilities and come back to alternates. Is that a good way to go about it, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds good.
Sure.
All right. So next on the list is the policy committee. So
Generally meets every other month, 4:30 time frame is what we've been doing. That could change, but that's what we've been doing. And those meetings are, an hour or so, and they're the group that makes the recommendations on the policy work that we do.
I can, go ahead, Sharon.
Does it make sense for the same person to do the CESPA and the C negotiations?
So here's the good news. We actually don't need either one of those roles or alternates.
Okay.
Sharon, I can do the policies if you want.
Okay. I really liked the
NSB. And, yeah. Okay. So I lost my. So those are really the only that we have, and then the BudCom, right? Because everything else we don't need. So we just need the BudCom and then the NHSBA, right? And the policy?
correct.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I can take the policies. I think it makes the most sense, Jim, maybe for you to be the BudCom as well.
I can do that.
Okay. And then Sharon, you want to stick with the NHSBA?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all right with you guys.
Yep.
Perfect.
Jim, are you okay with all of that?
completely fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just for an alternate, so we'll just have to, divvy up the alternates here.
I mean, why don't, Sharon, do you want to be the alternate for the policy and I'll be the alternate for the,
Sure.
and,
Yep.
and then maybe you be the alternate for the BudCom since you're the vice chair?
Sure.
Does that make sense, Jim?
Yep.
You want to do
Becky,
operations committee, Becky,
Yeah.
or
Say that again?
do you want to do alternate for operations?
Oh,
committee?
sure. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm alternate right now, right?
Oh, yes, you are. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
okay, that's perfect. So we have Becky as alternate for the operations committee. Sharon's alternate for policy. Sharon's gonna be alternate for BudCom, and Becky's gonna be alternate for NHSBA.
You just need a vote for that.
So can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the appointed positions as is.
I second that motion.
So then we'll do a roll call of Sharon,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
and Jim.
Yes,
I have the vote recorded.
great, thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration of the minutes for March 5th, 2020. Anybody have any comments or modifications that they wanted to make?
I have to abstain because I was not there.
I
That was
didn't.
good.
Are the minutes attached?
If you go on it, there's like a little clock. It has a link right next to it. It says minutes. It's like the 7th item down. They're pretty straightforward.
I don't see them. Is it in the agenda? They're the 7th one.
Yeah. So no. So go to in the agenda. Go to 3A,
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
and then the 7th
Oh.
line item down says view minutes.
Okay.
That was a very quick meeting. Sheesh.
Hey,
107.
when you're not there, Becky, we fly through it.
I know, right? Maybe I should not attend them.
It was a pretty straightforward meeting.
Yeah. Those all look.
Okay, great.
Fine.
So can I get a motion? Sharon, do you want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the March 5th minutes as written.
Okay, and I'll second.
And then Sharon for your vote.
Yes.
And
Becky's abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
Yes. Rhonda, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I
Who
can't
said
hear
that?
Rhonda anymore.
Rhonda, are you there?
yeah, could
Oh,
you not
there
hear
it is.
me?
No.
Nope.
They can hear you.
Yes, I have the vote recorded.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the audit governance letter. Matt, do you want to take us through this?
Yeah, so we conduct an audit on an annual basis. We contract through Plodzik and Sanderson. They took a look at our financials, control mechanisms from the prior year. So this would be 2018-19. Now, as you recall, they typically come in the August timeframe, and we provide some preliminary results in the September-October timeframe, which we did at that point in the fall. So as of now, we did receive the governance letter, and that does mark the completion of the audit. We do have a full audit book. There are copies at the SAU as well as we'll have a copy at the school as well. If anyone's interested, it's also posted on our website. If you recall, we just had a few minor recommendations in regard to the audit. It included policies being updated, which we are addressing within our policy committee, some reconciliations on our treasurer side, as well as a few timely deposits. So when we deposit funds, we typically want to do so within 1 week, and we had 2 deposits that were slightly longer than a week. So we are working to make certain that those do occur correctly in the future. But overall, it was a pretty clean audit, for this 2018-19 year. I'd be happy to answer any questions in regard to this year's audit.
I read through it. I think we've addressed everything that they've highlighted, and everything else looked good. So I was fine with it. Sharon, Becky, any? All right. And we don't need to vote on this, right?
No, it's for informational purposes.
Okay, great. And then you want to move on to the finance report?
Certainly. So we have attached the year-to-date expenditure and revenue reports. As you'll see, there have not been any significant variations from last month. Now, this is a unique situation where with the school closure going into effect, we do expect to recognize some slight cost savings depending on how long the closure extends. So we'd be looking at some of our accounts being a little lower than anticipated when we look at supplies, copiers, our electricity, our heating fuels, our busing, our transportation. It's at this point it's hard to forecast the exact amount without knowing how long this closure will remain in effect through May 4th, or if it gets extended further. However, once we have more clarity on the length of time, we'll be able to better forecast the cost savings. Back in the envelope, if we go back to school May 4th, it's probably, we're probably looking at some, maybe $10,000 in savings. Not a significant amount of money, but real money. So, be happy to answer any additional questions in regard to the finance reports.
I think you, at least from my perspective, I think you covered it.
Yeah.
You guys good as well, Becky? I think you're muted, Becky.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. All right. Next, we have questions and comments from those in attendance. So are they going to be able to, I think we have 2 people in attendance right now.
Yes, we do have 2. They can certainly submit a question in the chat area, or they can raise their hand. Now would be the time to do that if you have anything you want to share.
I'll give them a minute here. All right. Doesn't look like we have anything, but if anything pops up, we can always come back to it as well. Great. Next, continuing business, an update on COVID-19 and school closure.
So I don't have a whole lot to add that you didn't hear at the joint board meeting the other night. Again, we've since now published the calendar, which assumes that we're a calendar that would assume we're out through May 4th, if not the end of the year. Gotten a very good response from, in particular, staff to that calendar, which allows for professional learning, planning time, meeting time on Fridays. Since then, we've published and we sent to you earlier today some work that David and Caroline largely took responsibility for around remote learning expectations and what we expect to see happen on those Fridays. Again, I heard really good feedback to that as well. I have not heard anything from Amesbury yet. Maybe some of you have on their calendar and April vacation or any of those kinds of things. I've not heard that. Maybe someone will jump in later. Walter's shaking his head no, so I don't think we have. And the other thing I would add is that we have a forum, a second of our community forums scheduled for this Saturday. We had about 150 people at any given time who were in attendance last Saturday. And so we hope we're going to continue those throughout the length of this, just to answer questions that people may have. I'll go to David, Caroline, Matt, and then I know you want to hear from Walter. I want to say before Walter says anything that Walter's really tried to do some really interesting things with his morning announcements, almost his morning meeting for students, and the stories he's been reading and that kind of thing. And I just want to give him credit for doing those things. They're innovative, they're creative, and they're appreciated. So thank you, Walter. So let me go to David, Caroline, Matt, and then Walter, if anyone has anything to add.
Sure, I can pick up there. Well, we seem to be making progress. We're getting our feet underneath us with respect to teaching and learning. The accountability survey that I put out every week, we've kind of hit our stride in terms of number of hours that teachers are working per day, and expectations around where kids need to be, different grade levels. Structurally speaking, I think I mentioned this at the joint board meeting, we're hoping to leverage that Friday meeting time to kind of broaden some of the ways we can interact across the SAU. For example, kindergarten can have a scheduled group meeting, or first grade or second grade, et cetera. I think specifically in a lot of schools where people tend to be a little isolated, that's going to be a really good push forward. As Bill said, we published expectations for teaching today, coming off the calendar. That was we had a lot of positive feedback, and just general thanks for the clarity on that. We're about halfway. We've got about half our staff who are up for recertification, recertified. So I have been gently reminding people to kind of push that forward, and we are getting numbers there. One thing that's going to be on the radar now is grading and assessment. What does that look like for the rest of the school year? I don't have concrete answers right now, but I can say that we've been meeting with both principals, curriculum coordinators. I sat down with Walter and had a conversation about what that looks like, and we'll have answers in the near future for you, and a solid plan. That's kind of where we are. Questions?
No, not for me.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Caroline.
So not too much has changed since Tuesday. However, we've worked to get some of the mobile hotspot devices into the hands of some families who let us know that the other options are not working for them and they still need internet access. So we had some pickups yesterday during the meal pickup at Seabrook. We delivered some through the food delivery process. So we combined those two things a little bit yesterday. We also had some pickups at Winnicott. So we still have some available, and we'll keep messaging that out as far as the instructions on how to reach out to us to let us know, if someone wants to borrow one. Meals, the numbers continue to rise. We're always looking at the numbers to determine if we need to add a route. But at this point, it's still 2 routes out of Seabrook, and the pickups Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at both of our sites. So it's going well. Not much else to report as far as special education. People are and special ed teachers continue to hold meetings remotely, and we're working on ways to fulfill all the special ed rules and requirements to get things approved and still deliver services given a remote instruction environment. So we continue to work on that, and we send out guidance for EAs because their work also changes as a result. So we just try to stay ahead of all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt?
So there have not been any significant changes from the joint board, but real briefly, and for the benefit of our viewing audience, we are continuing to limit building access for all SAU 21 buildings. We really want to maintain cleanliness in the building and limit exposure between our staff members. So as such, and my apologies for the background noise.
We've all been there, Matt. Don't worry.
So I'm impressed that you can stay focused.
Well, that's been my life for the last 2 weeks. 3 kids under 6. So we are limiting access to the building. As Walter will mention, he is opening, having a controlled access for teachers to gain supplies now that we have a extended closure through May 4th. However, that will be controlled, and he'll elaborate on that. But we are trying to maintain integrity in the building by, as you know, we did sanitize the building utilizing a professional remediation company last week. And we will be doing a second sanitizing effort from that professional cleaner 48 hours to 72 hours prior to reopening of the school district. So really, we just want to maintain, a disinfected, sanitized building for our employees and for our students when they return. So be happy to answer any additional questions.
Thanks, Matt. Dr. Houston?
So a couple things. Since March 17th, when we did our pickup with families, we've had a couple of issues concerning technology devices, because at the time, families said, oh yeah, we have the materials that we need. We have the devices we can use, and then discovered that old laptops and old iPads and only having one for 3 kids was not going to work. And then when mom and dad had to start coming to working at home, things weren't going to work. So we've had a number of families who have contacted me. What I did was I took home probably about 15 Chromebooks and about 5 iPads, and they're in my house. And we've had about 5 families who have contacted me. I've made arrangements. They've come over to the house. We've had them sign the papers that they need to sign, and then we've been able to give them their Chromebooks. Because some kids were doing work on iPhones and just going, this is not working. So we're continuing to work with families to say, if you need things, just let me know and we can make arrangements for you to come over. I live 4 miles from town, so it's not a big distance for them. And like I said, we've had about 5 families that have accessed. We're continuing to.
Dr. Houston,
Yes.
I may need to take that because
Okay.
we are now
One of them.
we're going to be in that situation where Seth and Sarah both, and me, because I'm using this to have the meetings, and so I'll catch up with you because I'll
Okay.
need to come back.
And we've been actually working with the other SAUs as well, the other districts, because getting all the cords out from the cart it's a challenge. So we've been actually borrowing some cords from the other schools and just labeling them where they need to go so we can keep track of it. But if you know families that are really struggling with the device issue, make sure you contact us and we can make things work for them. The other thing is, before I go too far, the teachers have done an incredible job. It's been this hard situation because on one hand, and I've said this to Dr. Lapini and I've said this to Dr. Hobbs, they have gone above and beyond anything we could have ever imagined. They have done an incredible job quickly,
Bless you.
within
Thank you.
days, organizing this. But I say it's hard because on one hand, they're doing that. On the other hand, they're working 9, 10, 11 hours a day. And they're putting a lot of work into it. And today we had a staff meeting, and I kept saying to them, and I said to them over the last 3 weeks, this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. You need to reserve your energy as we go through this. because they are really giving it every single thing they have. And I just fear that if they continue to do this, they're going to get burnt out.
Yeah.
So today we went over the schedule, the reduced 4-day schedule, and talking about what that would look like and what they need to do on the 5th day, and really work on making sure they take care of themselves, because they are spending, like I said, 9, 10, 11 hours in front of a computer screen all day long, making sure that they can help and support the families as best they can. So just to let you know that they're working really hard, and I'm so proud of them. But at the same, I'm also concerned about them. Our daily message is what? Beck?
I agree. I mean, the middle school, I don't know about the elementary school, but the middle school teachers are doing a fantastic job. And, I give them a lot of credit for what they're doing.
Yeah, I'd echo the same at elementary. I mean, I see it on each of the 3 elementary teachers, and they're just going above and beyond anything I think I could have imagined. It's really impressive. Walter and the SAU, everybody, you guys have done an awesome and excellent job in doing and getting education to the kids in a very timely manner, and it's just really impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
The only part that I sort of struggling with a little bit, I guess, is it just seems like there's so much screen time. I know there's really no way around that. We're trying to make a lot of time to get some movement going along with it. Because I know the older kids, I tend to think that they are on the screen for school, and then their break, they're also on the screen, like trying to kind of socialize with each other. So there's just a lot of screen time throughout the day. We're getting through it, and it is what it is. And so we're just trying to make some more time to get our bodies moving a little bit also, but I don't think there's any way around it.
Well, I think a couple of things today, like I said, with the new schedule coming up, and we talked about it as a staff, I wouldn't be surprised over the next couple of days, you're going to see a revised schedule coming out that will make things a little bit easier, and it won't be quite as intense as it has been the last 2 weeks. Just because I think everyone's recognizing that we need to go to at least May, and we possibly could go to June, and they need to keep their energy up. And even for the kids, I mean, after a while, the kids are going to be like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Because it's exhausting. I mean, for any of us who have spent the days in front of a computer screen, by the end of it, we're wiped. I think the kids are feeling the same way as well. So,
on the new schedule, I was just going to say, I've heard very positive things from parents as well. So it's good to hear that the staff is appreciating it. And I think parents, are likewise appreciating, because it's just a new stress that they weren't really prepared for. So.
Well, and it's fascinating because for the little ones, it was comical because one of the K1 teacher did an incredible job, giving a list of things for them to do, with the expectation was this is just kind of like a menu. And some parents interpreted that as I have to do every single thing on this list, and circulated a checklist and made sure that they got every single thing done on the list. And the teacher's like, no, that was never the intent. They were just, suggested ideas to do. So we had that talk about what she can do to support families, that it's not a grocery list of everything you have to get. Here's just some things. It's a menu, and you can pick and choose from those things. So we're still working out the kinks. But again, they have done an incredible job, and I'm incredibly proud of them. I think we're all still having that moment where we are missing the kids. We talked about it today. On the 13th, we said goodbye, we'll see you on Monday, and Monday never came. And that, I think, has been really hard for us as a staff. Because then Monday was supposed to happen this coming Monday, and it's not coming, and it may not come. And so that's, I think, hard for all of us, because we miss our kids. We miss seeing them. Yes, they may get to see their classroom, but they're not getting to see the school. And when you're in a small school like Barnard, you see everybody, and you want to see everybody, and that's been the hard thing. So that might be something our next challenge is, how do we bring all 85 kids together to have sort of a shared experience? So if anyone has any ideas, I'm open to doing that, to be able to see each other, because I think everyone is missing seeing each other. Like Dr. Lapini said, I do a daily morning message that we've been able to do. Here are the announcements, but also here's some crazy things to do, and having people take pictures. We're posting them on the website. We're also collecting them because we want to put them into the yearbook, because we figured it'll be one section of a very unique yearbook to say, this is remote learning 2020 and this is what we did. So I'm trying to encourage people to send in their pictures. We've also been doing a read aloud every day. I think parents, again, it's not required. It's just if you need something to do, here's something for especially for the little ones. As Matt referred to, we are opening the building tomorrow in a very structured way. We're starting at 8:30. We're making sure that there are no more than 4 people in the building. They are scattered throughout the building, and they are not, the next crew is not allowed to come in until the first crew gets to leave. I'll be at the door kind of directing traffic with the expectation that they'll come in, go straight to their classroom, get what they need, and then leave.
For staff. For staff.
And so we should be done by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've come up with a schedule we went over today. We made some changes to that schedule. We made it very clear that if people are not feeling well, to please stay home. If there's something that they truly, truly need, to let me know what that is. I will go into their classroom, I will bag it up for them, and then they can make arrangements with me to swing by the house and pick it up. So we made sure that people can still get their things, even if they're not feeling well. And that seemed to go over well today as well. And I'm just trying, I don't think there was anything else. Does anyone have any other questions or anything else that you're hearing?
It
I
does
just
look
have-
like we have another attendee in the meeting.
Okay.
I just have a question with you mentioning now, if some of them are not feeling well, I mean, what's a scenario if one of these teachers comes down with this, or any of the teachers in the SAU,
So, we've talked about that, and the answer is it would depend,
Okay.
right? It would, so the way the closest I can offer you is a teacher who is going out on a leave in May and teaches first grade in another of our districts where we have a number of first grade teachers. What they've decided, because you're not gonna bring in a sub.
Right.
So what we've decided, or what they decided to do, was that the 3 first grade teachers are going to handle that instruction for the remainder of the year. That assumes we go out. We have another situation where we have a music teacher who may go out sooner than that, end of April. And what they've talked about is there's a second music teacher in the district, and that person's going to pick up some of that along with the other UA partners. So it would depend.
All right.
We'd work it out individually based on the situation.
Okay.
Let me add 2 things to what I said at the beginning, because one of them, some of you asked me about the other night. So first of all, I think if Walter mentioned originally in the plan, we were going to go back on Monday. And then the governor announced that would go through May the 4th. One of the things that we continue to encourage the commissioner and the governor to do is to level with us. If we're going to be out long, to tell us sooner rather than later. Because what I think all of us experienced in that is that even though most people didn't believe we were going back to school Monday, the 6th of April, that when that announcement, when that information actually came, that was difficult to hear and actually set people back for a number of days, teachers, administrators. And so it's better to know and be able to plan for that and take the time to get through that emotionally than it is to spring it on us in the last minute. And so he's promised, the commissioner's promised he will continue to give us accurate information as soon as possible on what may be happening with any of those decisions. The second thing is that I was asked about your incoming principal, and board members, I wrote to each of you and asked if you'd be willing to start an entry process with an individual interview. I'm also going to be reaching out to Kim Mullen to do that. Michelle will be setting up times to meet with each of you and with Dr. Houston individually. What we decided to do was that Sarah Casasa was kind enough to say she would be the point person. We decided that right now the staff does not need this additional piece, the entry, but that Sarah will be the barometer to tell us when they are. Because as we get closer to May, the thought was that more of them will want to do that, want to have small group or individual time with Michelle to go through the entry process as she's coming in. And so Sarah's going to be the barometer, and she's going to say to me, okay, Bill, this is a good time. Some of us are ready to start. We'd be willing to have those interviews now. Let's go. And so in the meantime, Dr. Houston, the three of you, Kim Mullen, and Michelle and I will continue to talk every week or so about how to proceed with entry in this very strange time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And then Becky, I don't know if you'd heard, I'd heard rumors that there was an Amesbury schedule. Maybe it's only for high school or seniors.
So right now there is a schedule for the high school. I do know that the middle school had started about, what week are we on? We're on second full week, right?
Yeah, the end.
So the middle school, I think the middle school has been doing it for about a week and a half, and the elementary school, I'm not sure where they're at yet, but the middle school is starting Monday. I mean, the high school is starting Monday. They have a schedule. It's from, basically instruction is from 9 to 12:15, Monday through Thursday. And then 8 to 9, there's some, sort of office hours, things like that. And then from 12:15 to, I think 1 something, it goes back to that again, where they have some more, time to check in with teachers or, and I'm not sure where they're at yet. I think it's all pass or fail. It'll be Google Classroom, but that's really all I know so far.
Okay.
They're really not on top of the game at this point, which is a little bit frustrating, but I don't know. I don't know if their hands are tied, if it's the union that's not giving them the go ahead. I don't know I don't really know what the holdup is.
Yeah.
So as a former Massachusetts superintendent, I can say that Massachusetts got way behind on all of this for whatever reasons as a state. They got way behind early on. And I think having a different time as a state recovering, and then individual districts, and I don't know Amesbury, but individual districts having more bargaining issues than some other places I'm seeing. So that could very well be.
Got it. All right, great. Thank you. Anybody else have anything or? All right. I don't think we have anything on the personnel side or
We do not.
policy.
We do
So
not.
the next meeting date is going to be Thursday, May 7th. And then there's an committee meeting Wednesday, May 13th, and a joint board meeting Tuesday, May 26th. But we're doing, just for those that are on watching, the joint, we're doing very frequent updates with the SAU on the status given the circumstances. So it's pretty much weekly.
Those meetings are available. They're posted on our website, any of the joint board meetings, which are largely informational around the current remote learning situation.
So we have nothing to address under non-public, is that correct?
We do not.
Okay, great. Well, that should bring us to an end of the meeting. I guess I'll just give it one more second. If anybody who's a participant has a question, you can write a question in the chat or raise your hand. We'll kind of hold on here for a minute just to make sure no one jumped in. So
This quarantine here has brought ducks to my family. So now we're ducks. Yeah, we have baby ducks.
there you go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Right. Sure.
Like you bought them or they naturally happen?
No, we bought them. We bought them.
Oh, you did?
We did. Yep. See, I can show you them maybe. We have 3 baby ducks.
Listen, you don't get this in Massachusetts, only in New Hampshire.
That's right.
It looks like Brianna has a question. Where could I view the agenda of the meeting?
Anybody can view the agenda on board docs if they go to the SAU 21 website and they select the tab that's for school boards. Then there's a tab drop down that pops up, and board docs would be what she would select. And that'll direct you to the board docs site. And then to get to the specific school district you're interested in, on the upper right-hand side of the screen of board docs, it will say the SAU 21 Joint Board, and you just select the little drop-down tab, and then you can choose the Southampton School Board from there. And then that will take you to the menu for their meetings, their agendas, the minutes, all of that information. You can also view it on the SAU website under the calendar notice.
It's also listed under school boards on the SAU website. It has the agenda and minutes if you select Southampton.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
Walter, should I just reach out to you in an email about a device of some sort?
All right.
That's a yes.
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 All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:44?
Make a motion to adjourn at 4:44.
Second.
Need to
Just
do a
wanna
roll
raise-
call, or is everybody in favor?
I think we're all in favor.
Favor.
In favor, yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody. We
Thank you all.
really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great
Okay.
job. Thanks,
See
everybody.
you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.